Arkane has released their PS5 and PC exclusive DEATHLOOP, and it's been getting so many great reviews and 10 out of 10s and 5 out of 5s. So a lot of people are really loving this game. But how does it stack up when it comes to accessibility? Well, let's talk about it. Before I begin this video, I want to encourage you to be able to hit the subscribe button to see more of my videos. I do a bunch of accessibility reviews and previews and other fun stuff, and it would really help me out and kind of help boost this channel on YouTube, and I would really appreciate it. Hi, I'm Steve Saylor. I'm blind, and if you're wondering how I'm able to play video games if I'm blind, if you take a look at the video here and the video is not there, click the link in the description down below to see exactly what I see when I'm playing video games. So I want to apologize for the stream of consciousness video that this is going to be. This is not structured the way I normally would structure reviews when it comes to these kind of games. But because I'm not under a review embargo, and there's already a lot of reviews that talk about the style and the gameplay and the story of this, and it's been getting a lot of great reviews and 10 out of 10s and 5 out of 5s from different outlets. I'm not going to sort of talk about that. And there is one particular issue that I find with this game that I want to focus in on than just the specific stuff about options and stuff like that that I want to be able to talk to, and so I apologize ahead of time. I do encourage you to be able to watch for the whole video so you can at least be able to see my point and hopefully learn something about accessibility that you didn't know before. So let's start off with, I'm going to say it, DEATHLOOP is not accessible, and it's disappointing. Reason being is that there's so many people that love this game, and I totally get it. I have this like need to want to keep playing this game. There is so much about the style and the story and the dialogue that makes this game fun. I understand all that. The problem I'm finding with this game is how inaccessible it is. And I could talk about and nitpick about all the lack of options that are in this game. Everything from the fact that it has really small text. I could go for hours about the really small text. I can talk about the fact that there's no remapping on consoles. There's issues for deaf and hard of hearing players, where essentially there are conversations happening that sound really close, but for some reason, because you're not in a close proximity, those subtitles don't even pop. I could talk about the lack of even basic accessibility options in this, and I can nitpick all of that. But those things could be patched in. If Arkane really cared about adding more accessibility into the game, they could be patched into a update or a new sort of DLC pack that they put in there, and it adds a bunch of accessibility, and that's great. And for some players, that's all they need. But I'm going to say for a lot of disabled players, this game is not going to be fixed by a patch. This game, those patches will essentially be band-aids for a much larger issue with the game, and I'm going to explain why. Accessibility does its best work when not only are there options that help a player to be able to customize their experience, but also that if accessibility is part of the design process. In reality, technically, if accessibility is part of the design process, you will not need as many options to customize for a player because it's already built into the gameplay itself. And we hear a lot about games that have so many accessibility options and stuff like that, and that's awesome. I've loved it too. I mean, hell, I went viral because of me seeing a whole bunch of accessibility options in a game because just something that we have never seen before. So I'm very much involved in that too. However, accessibility has to be part of the design. Otherwise, it's going to be frustrating for certain aspects of people with disabilities. And let me explain this to the reason why I think that in regards to this game, the problem with accessibility was in the design of the gameplay. Now, I get it. Arkane is known for so many amazing genius level design, from the Dishonored series to Prey Like, they are well known for creating so many innovative levels and really cool concepts that allows the player to kind of like choose how they want to be able to get through that level. And every single time you do, it makes it that much more fun and enjoyable, and like basically kind of makes you smile every time you play, one of their games. I get that. I see that even in this game. But the problem that with the design of this is that this game forces you and relies on your ability to play first-person shooters. Now, when I say that, I mean specifically that you have to have a specific skill level for first-person shooters in order to be able to make this game fun and enjoyable. Otherwise, it's a struggle just to get through it. I've spent over 10 and a half hours of actual real life play in this game, and I've barely was able to unlock 2 abilities in this. And now, if you know that, like, that's basically about a quarter way through the game. And the more I kept playing, the more frustrating it got. Now, this could also be chalked up to the fact that there essentially is a preset difficulty level with this. And I would argue that that's technically not the case. The enemies are tough, but they're not impassable. There are times where essentially that I'm actually like okay at being able to get through levels with a lot of different NPC enemies that are coming after you, and you can sort of combat that by going a little bit more stealth, so you don't have to face against certain enemies. So the preset difficulty isn't the issue here. The issue here is that if you don't play first person shooters well, you are not going to do well in this game. Case in point, so part of the design of this game is that you have 3 lives essentially in one particular area at certain times in the day to be able to complete the quest or the mission that you are wanting to be able to do. And essentially what that happens is if you die, it respawns you back to an earlier point in the map so that you can be able to go through and do it again. And you have 3 tries to be able to get it before if you don't last those 3 tries, you die and you lose all those weapons and upgrades that you've unlocked along the way. And that's where I think the inaccessibility lies, because I'm trying so much. I normally do okay in first person shooters, but when it comes to this, because of those 3 lives that it gives you, there are many times I've spent hours trying to be able to complete one task, and only to fail at the last minute. I'll use an example. This is a minor spoiler for the game. There is one particular ability that is called the shift ability, and that sort of allows you to teleport to short distances in the map. It's similar to the teleport capability in the Dishonored series, and I honestly would not be able to get through the Dishonored games if it wasn't for that ability. It helped me out so much, and I upgraded that pretty much fully right away in those games. And so I was like, I want this ability in this game. So it's when I had the opportunity to be able to do that, that was the mission that I focused on. And there is a sort of multi-story building that you have to go through to be able to reach the top, to be able to find this one visionary that has this ability, so you can take them out and be able to, once you are done that, you go to the exit, you infuse that ability so it stays with you throughout the entire loop and stays with you for the rest of the game. I spent probably 3 hours just trying to be able to complete that one mission because I died so many times. Now, did I learn a pattern and shortcuts along the way? Yes. So each run I had was shorter and shorter as I kept going. But there were so many times that I just died because of just how many enemies there were, or also some like some lasers or landmines or whatever that essentially that traps that essentially are kind of placed in front of you, that makes it like harder to be able to get to the Charlie, to be able to kill him and then take his ability and then run to the exit. I eventually got to a point where I was able to get through that relatively quickly, but then only to be faced with, I'm now having to be able to reach to the exit and then dying on my way to the exit, and then I have to start all over again. Because that's the thing, is that there is a bit of a roguelike element. If you die, you lose everything that you collected. And then you now have to recollect all those same weapons or abilities, if you didn't infuse them, to stay with you like when you restart the game, when you restart the loop. Because once you die, you restart the entire day loop and you lose everything that you've collected along the way. Because there's that pressure on the player to be able to get to keep going and to basically not make a mistake. Every time you make a mistake, it is extremely difficult to be able to get out of. And that's where I find that this game is really inaccessible. There's so many barriers that I felt that my disability was getting in the way. And I'm normally good at first-person shooters. I play Destiny all the time. I play Halo all the time. I love those games. But those games allow me to make mistakes and respawn without feeling like that I am losing anything along the way, or basically the mistakes I'm making are I use that as sort of trial and error. Okay, I died in this spot. I'm gonna go back. I know what I can be able to do, and I can be able to move forward. And it could be argued that that's the same in this game, but it gives you so few chances to be able to get it right before the game becomes extremely frustrating. And that's where I feel that where the inaccessibility lies. This is something that is not going to be fixed in a patch. This is something that's part of the design process. If Arkane decided to, you know what, we're going to have it so that you can respawn 5 times instead of 3. That fundamentally changes the entire concept of the game, and in reality changes the way that even people would approach the game, because that's like, oh, you know what? I have 5 chances, then I can easily breeze through all of these and no time and no problem at all. And it kind of lessens that challenge to a certain degree. And that would essentially, in a way, would put a crowbar into the experience that Arkane was trying to build to create. And it's not to say that they were designing this without thinking about accessibility. It's not to say that they were even designing this being like, nah, we don't care about accessibility in this. We want to be able to do this particular thing in this game, so we're going to do that and focus in on that. I don't know the studio's intentions when it comes to this, so I can't really talk about that in particular, but I do know that this decision was made in the design process to the point where there's no way to be able to go back in and change it. So do I hope that this game is going to be accessible in the future? No, I don't. Because the problems I have can't be fixed in a patch, can't be fixed in an update. So it pains me to say that I don't think I'm going to be able to complete this game. I want to complete this game. I desperately want to play this game. I desperately want to roll credits on this. It is fun. And I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm really missing out on an amazing experience that everyone loves, but I can't play it. I can't enjoy that same experience. I and many other disability or disabled players won't be able to play this game and enjoy the hype that is potentially game of the year for a lot of people. And that's disappointing. I do hope that Arkane does care about accessibility and wants to be able to make more accessible games. Now that it's part of the Microsoft umbrella and that they do care about accessibility and that there are people that can help them when it comes to accessibility that is built into Xbox's first-person studios or first-party studios. But it's going to take a while. And Arkane really has to want to do it. We can't force a studio to be able to make their games accessible. That's not the way to go about it. You have to encourage them to say, hey, there's a portion of gamers that want to be able to enjoy the genius that is Arkane, but they can't because of certain design decisions. And my fear is that because this game has gotten so many grave reviews, that accessibility isn't going to be a priority to them because they don't need to. The game's selling without really any need to put in accessibility. And that's my fear, that the bottom line will overshadow any accessibility efforts that some people in the studio might be wanting to push for. So does it even really go with me saying, do I recommend this game? No. Would I recommend this game after a patch for accessibility? Maybe, if a patch you think helps to be able to allow you to play, but no, I probably wouldn't. And I may have to refund this. I don't even know if I can refund this. Anyway, I'm sorry. I really wanted to love this game, and I'm sorry that this may seem disappointing to some, and that's okay. It's fine. It sucks, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. I know I ranted a lot, but I would really appreciate it if you did. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below or hit me up on Twitter at Steve Saylor. Again, if you want to be able to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when new videos come out, hit the bell notification icon too. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, I remain obedient to yours.